All right, big hello to everybody. My name is Gene Bunin. For those not aware, it is currently 11 o'clock and 11:07 at night, 11:08 in Almaty, Kazakhstan. And I am here, I am in good health, and I am recording this video on my own free will, regardless what Western media might tell you. Now, the reason I'm recording this video, which is very unusual for me, I think people who read what I write or generally follow what I do probably know that I don't really record videos, I just write. And I would prefer to write. And here I am going to make a sort of rare exception. Hopefully this is the first time I'm doing a video address. Hopefully it's the last time. And I'm doing it to sort of try to convey the importance of what's happening right now here in Kazakhstan, in Almaty, and also in Astana, regarding the volunteer group Atajurt and its leader Serikjan Bilash, whom, as many of you know, has been arrested. So I guess I probably don't need to really fill people in on the details here. I think if you just read the news, if you Google Kazakhstan activists, you'll see all the stories, and they do a pretty good job of covering what happened. But basically, on Saturday, so about a week ago, there were people at the Atajurt office who looked a bit sketchy, and this put the volunteers there ill at ease, and so much ill at ease, in fact, that Serikjan thought that his life was in danger, and he went to a hotel that night, a nice hotel, but still in the middle of the night, members of the security apparatus broke into his room, took him all the way to Astana. They flew him all the way across Kazakhstan to Astana, and where there was some sort of very quick process, and then they released him to basically house arrest. And they're charging him with extremism, calling to jihad, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm not going to sum all of this up. I'll comment on it later. It's not the goal of the video, is not to really give you an update on the news. The goal of this video really is to, there's a few goals. The first, I guess, is that the major goal is that it's a sort of plea. It was an actual really useful piece from foreign policy, which was kind of a luck piece in the sense that this was about an Uyghur student studying in the US who went to China in, I believe this was, early 2017. He was detained in Beijing. He was taken all the way to Xinjiang. He was not in a camp, but he was in a detention center, a control cell. And that also kind of gave, it gave a view of how crazy things had gotten. But it also, it kind of gave a sense of how bad the conditions were. Though again, it was really nothing about the camp. So these articles kind of formed the contours of what was happening. And then we shift now from spring 2018 to another half a year period to fall of 2018. And this is when we actually start to get really good coverage of the camps. And this is also where Atajurt essentially comes into play, as I'll mention later. So here now we have basically three really big articles that I've selected. So the first was this one, the very famous one from AP, featuring Omar Bekkali and his experience, as well as Kairat Samarkand's experience. And so these were both Kazakh citizens who had gone back to Xinjiang and gotten detained. Then we kind of got another really interesting story with Sairagul Salbai. So this is a woman who had worked as an instructor in one of the camps. She used to be a kindergarten manager, I think, or a teacher, I forget which, or director, I think. And she was forced to go and teach at a camp, and then at one point she actually managed to flee to Kazakhstan illegally, and then she had a trial of whether or not to extradite her back to Kazakhstan, and she was not extradited. And so this particular article was from the Washington Post by Emily Rauhala, whose name I also might be messing up. And this one covered not only her trial, which at that point had still not been resolved, but also testimonies from two other ex-detainees, Orhanbek Köksebek and Amanjan Seytuli. So at this point now you had four ex-detainees, all from Kazakhstan, all Kazakh citizens who had gotten detained while going back to Xinjiang or to China, and who had talked about the camps specifically and how the camps were not really study schools. They were not, boarding schools, but they were actual, almost prison-like internment camps. Opening up, quote-unquote, opening it up it centers to foreign diplomats and foreign reporters who, so unfortunately, are not so very independent as of now, but still better than nothing, and actually also letting some people, notably the Kazakhs, out of the camps and even back to Kazakhstan. So now we're in a state. So what is Atajurt? Atajurt is basically, and here I have to kind of, I'll give a quick summary of the history of Atajurt. So it's basically, it started out, let's say, with these three guys, or I think, I know it definitely started out with these two guys. I think this guy was there as well. So this is Serikjan Bilash, this is Kairat Baitullah, and this is Kader Ali Oraz. Kader Ali is no longer in Atajurt, but Serikjan, well, we know he's the one in the headlines. Kairat is kind of one of the major assistants. And it's a group that started small and has actually, gotten quite, let's say, big. So these are not all, group members, but this is just kind of a photo after one of their busy days. But there's volunteers here. There's also victims' relatives here. And it's a group that started small in 2016, at the end of 2016. And here I'm summarizing what Kader Ali Oraz told me when I interviewed